It's raining cats and dogs in Los Angeles. Boulder Johnny 007. It's not too bad, but it is hard to um, walk Lois, and she don't like the water. But I got to walk her, so it's one of those things. This is a impromptu stream. Just thought I'd come on and see what's going down. I mean, apparently this is supposed to be the last of the big storms. It's been raining a little bit pretty much for 24 straight hours. So it just makes it hard to walk Lois because she hates water. So my day is navigating the jungles of the LA street system. By the way, I just put out a tweet. I want everyone to vote in the poll. What should I be more upset about not being in? My cousin RFK Jr.'s comedy show or Netflix is a joke? Vote. Vote early. Vote often. And to be honest with you, I don't even want to do either, but I'd still like to be on them. So I love LA comedy. I mean, that is LA comedy in a nutshell. I can't even get on my cousin's stand-up comedy show. I should have been the first person booked. But, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm kind of faking being mad about it, but this business is wackadoony-doon. I feel bad for the homeless people, man. It's cold out. It's raining. I don't know, Jive Turkey. So I've decided I'm voting for Donald Trump out of spite. You guys know how I act when I feel wronged. So here's what I'm asking you guys to do. I appreciate all the super chats and the gifted memberships and all that stuff. But if you want to tweet, let me see what his Twitter is. That son of a bitch. I don't know if I can get in trouble for this, RFK. Let me see what my cousin's... Okay. My cousin's Twitter is at Robert Kennedy Jr. Tweet at him. Bombard him with why isn't Earl on your comedy show? I don't even want to do it. I just want to get in on the action. Let me see. Trump's gold shoes. I mean, I'm a sneakerhead, I guess you would call it. And the shoes look kind of average to me. You can tell and I wouldn't put this past Trump if he just bought a bunch of Nike Dunks and painted them gold, or had the Nike thing, the logo removed. I mean, $400. But he's got to start selling something to pay off all these judgments, to be honest with you. I mean, Trump's policies do benefit me more financially than Biden. I think the inner turmoil is he's such a scummy person. Like, it's hard to vote for him. But thank you, Tim Kirkpatrick. That's all it takes. I don't even wanna do the show, to be honest with you. I just want my cousin to feel bad. I mean, I've been a loyal foot soldier on the Robert Kennedy Jr. train. His mom's my dad's sister. You'd think I'd get on the show before Dustin Ibarra, but that's comedy in a nutshell. Like, I'm kidding with the outrage, but that is Los Angeles comedy in a nutshell. But, what are you gonna do? You can just go on a stream and talk about it. Thank you, Boulder Johnny, for that tweet. Um, I mean, and the Netflix is a joke festival. Holy fuck, man. Like, I think my gardener's on the festival. But you know what? They're having roast battle on the festival. Good luck with that. I mean, I'm not going to the comedy show to hang out, Dr. Nova. With some of the comics on that show, they better have a laugh track button real fast. But, what are you going to do? I love Los Angeles comedy. It's the best. So hit that like button. Let's get me to 13 likes. And what's on your mind? Tell me about it. I mean, Bobby Lee's legit. Tim Dillon's legit. I mean, I like Erica Rhodes, but you'd think I'd get on the show before Trey Stewart, who I am friends with and is very funny, but holy fuck, man. You know. Yeah, but I have a feeling that'll be Tim's audience. Earl, do they replace Biden? I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Biden being 81. I mean, we're all going to be 81 one day, but we're not going to have our hands on the nuclear launch codes. So, and Trump is no spring chicken. Like, you could see the chinks in his armor lately too. I mean, that one speech where he was talking about Nancy Pelosi, but he was really talking about Nikki Haley, but he kept saying Nancy Pelosi. Uh, yeah, Shane Gillis is great, and he's a very nice guy. So I always root for um, the nice guys, and Shane is definitely someone you root for. Um, well, I mean, I see what you're saying there, Doctor Nova, but and I think there's a lot of great podcasters who are not good comics because here's the thing, and I'm not talking about Tim because I think he's both, but you've seen with a few people who've been passed recently at the Comedy Store where they're passed probably because they have a big following, their fans are going to come here to see them, but most podcasters, their fan base is anywhere but where their home city is. Like, we have 11 people in here right now. I don't think there's one person from Los Angeles in this stream. So let's just, amplify that by a couple hundred. Say there were a couple hundred people in this stream, which I hope to have at one point. Um, none are probably going to be from Los Angeles. So, like Jive Turkey's from New York City. So Jive Turkey might think I'm the funniest comic of all time, but if I have a spot tomorrow night at the Comedy Store, he's not going to be there. So having a popular podcast is kind of these days a replacement for being funny. And I understand the thinking of the comedy clubs, and it's not just the Comedy Store; it's pretty much every club in the country. He or she has 60,000 followers. They have a podcast that gets 100,000 listens or downloads. Um, let's pass them, and then they get passed, and then they get a spot, and then no one shows up, and then they have to do stand up on stage by themselves. You can be an unfunny person and have a great podcast because you can play off the listeners. Like if you're doing a stream like this, you can play off your co-host if you have a co-host. You can play off your guest and have a good banter to carry the conversation. But when you're on the main room stage at the Comedy Store or the Original Room or any stage, the Improv, Laugh Factory, the Cellar, the Stand, you're up there by yourself. And you can only really play off the crowd if you're doing well. And if you're not doing well, you got no backup plan. But I got to start worrying about myself. Um, I mean, I hope ACDC, you are wrong. Because Gavin Newsom can't run this fucking county, the state. The country would be a disaster under Gavin Newsom. I mean, he looks like a politician because he is the ultimate politician. But, you know, I mean, California is a disaster. The area I live in, West Hollywood, is the worst. Crime, homelessness, tax. I mean, I'm taxed on my fucking taxes. So that's what America would look like under Newsom. Well, I mean, you're right, but I also think financially, though, podcasting for the most part, I believe, is free. Like this stream, for example. And I'm probably not the best example because I don't have a lot of people in my streams, but like outside of a super chat, the stream is free for you guys. So you might think Earl's funny. Let's watch Earl. It's free entertainment. But it's another thing, even if you are in Los Angeles, hey, I'm going to pay $20 to park. I'm going to pay 30 to 40. I mean, I can get you on the guest list. So say I save you the admission fee. So you still got to pay $20 for park. You still got to do the 2-drink minimum. If you have a date, that's 4 drinks. So it's expensive to, you know, uh, to get people to come to a comedy club to see you live. So the numbers of a podcaster, it's misleading in terms of people who actually will show up at the comedy club. Yo yo Kongzilla, yo 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 yo. Um, so you know, but you see that a lot with social media. I mean, I have a friend of mine. Hold on, I'm getting the text here. Uh, I have a friend of mine. She's an Instagram girl. She has like 1 million followers, literally 1 million followers on each platform: Twitter, Instagram. I mean, I guess you can't have 1 million followers on Facebook, but yes, Jive Turkey. Well, no, I mean it's actually his brother Peter and Scotty. I think are the day-to-day operation, but I'm sure Paulie has input. Um, she has 1 million followers, essentially on Instagram and Twitter, and I think TikTok as well. And she ran a comedy show a couple months ago in Venice that she put me on, and I thought, "Fuck, man, there's going to be 1 million people there. Like there'll be. I mean, it was held at an art gallery, so I thought there's going to be like 1,000 people there. Because that's like the rule of thumb. If you're selling something online, you'll get 1% of your actual audience to buy it. So I thought 1 million people, 1% of 1 million. I mean, even worst case scenario, there'll be 500 people in the art gallery. There was 8 people, and she promoted the shit out of it. Stories, TikTok videos. So, it's social media has really, I think, put a fly in the ointment of stand-up comedy in terms of who you see on stages now. I mean, I have a friend of mine, Josh Nasser. You guys may or may not know him. He's a Comedy Store paid regular. Um, he couldn't get clubs to call him back to host shows, let alone headline. And then he just said, "Fuck it." He concentrated on YouTube and TikTok, and now I think he has 1 million subscribers on each or some crazy number like that, and clubs are falling all over themselves to book him. The same clubs that literally a year ago wouldn't return his email. So that's why we have to get this stream up to 1,000,000 people. Um, well, I mean, Doctor No, I'm just, my math might be off on how yes, Kongzilla. We can talk a little hockey. Kempe is my Comedy Store buddy. We talk often. That's a big win for the Kings. And oh no, I'm not saying. I'm sorry. I'm going out of order um, on the live chat because this is going to sound like a scam to read super chats, but super chats are easier for me to read just because they're highlighted. My vision sucks. I know you're not saying Newsom's the man, but you're probably right. I mean, or I would guess if Biden had to step down if he wins, uh, they'd probably put Harris in there. I mean, that would be a good look for the Democrats to have a black female. I mean, that's going to be hard to beat, because the Republicans, what are they going to throw Haley out there against her? Tim Scott, that guy looked like the last kid picked in fucking kickball on the debates. And minimum wage is brutal out here. A lot of my friends who own restaurants, they just went out of business and moved. There was a restaurant, um, Santa Monica and Crescent Heights, uh, which is West Hollywood, Mario's, and it was pretty full every day. It was a breakfast spot. I'd see the actor Robert Forster there every day reading scripts and whatnot, and they had to close up, man. You go from minimum wage, which was, I don't know, I think $7 or $8 to, I think, between 17 and $20. It's just not economical for a restaurant like that. You charge, say $15 for an omelet. Now you got to charge like $23 for an omelet, and no one's going to pay $23 for an omelet. Unless you're at like the Ivy, which is a real hoity-toity restaurant down the road. Um, but Sam is a little different. Oh, well, Robert Forster Drive Turkey was also in I'm Dying Up Here the first season. So at the premiere, we were in line together, and he's like, "Hey, young man." He called me young man. I'm like in my early 50s at that time. He's like, "Are you on the show too?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I play a late night comic." And before you say anything, I just want you to know I loved you in Delta Force. And he really liked that I remembered him from Delta Force, which is probably pretty low on the totem pole of things he has done in life. But he was very nice. Well, I mean, she might be worse than Biden or Newsom, but a black female is just like that hits every check mark. Um, oh yeah, I mean, Fat Pig the Conqueror. Are you new to the stream? Welcome. I don't believe I've seen your name. Uh, Oh yeah, I mean, Doctor Nova, I would agree with you. But Sam's found a market. There's a huge. Sam is like dipped into the Dabbleverse of the conspiracy world, and that's a great market. I mean, but you even look at the Dabbleverse shows. Oh, okay, well, thank you, Fat Pig. I mean, I'm not calling you a fat pig. I mean, that's your name. So, but Sam, you know, if you can tap into a niche market like conspiracy people, and there's conspiracy theory people everywhere, it's really was a brilliant move by Sam. Um, and he works hard, man. I mean, he might be crazy and shit, but he has tapped into a great market. Like, I'm trying to tap into like on these streams, I'm trying to tap into a very small market of people who don't like the Dabbleverse, or they like it and they want to come to another stream to talk about anything else. And I'm trying to tap into the wrestling fans, which, to be honest, I haven't been that successful at. Because wrestling is a very divisive subject. You love Hulk Hogan, you hate Hulk Hogan. You like the Ultimate Warrior, you hate the Ultimate Warrior. Um, so I was almost AC/DC on. I did a pilot with my friend Annabelle. It was just beautiful. You know, she looks like a Kardashian, and she was the host, and I was like the sidekick on Paranormal Activity. And I was really excited. It was supposed to be on like the Sci-Fi Network, and that would have helped me tap into like that area of the fan base. But um, it never even got pitched. So um, you know, welcome to Hollywood. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to the debates. I mean, these debates are gonna be clusterfucks. You know, just two old dudes, and the older you get, kind of the more bitter you get. Like I'm not bitter really. I'm just super honest. Um, so I can imagine 2 80-year-old dudes and Trump. Whether you like him or not, he's a master troll. Like, he'll say something about Biden's son just to get him going, and then Biden will go nuts, and then he'll do a gaffe, and then Trump will be like, "Your son was a loser. He got caught in the war," or something. Um, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the bigger your audience gets in those niche, subject matters is, you have to talk about what that audience wants. Like, if I ever became big, say, in Canada, because I love hockey, and I would have to go to Canada to headline, the multiple clubs that are up there, like Comic Strip and House of Comedy, and people are there for hockey jokes. And I become like, say I became the biggest comic in Canada just because I'm a hockey guy. Well, when I play LA, I can't do hockey jokes because hockey's not that popular in LA. Um, so you definitely, you look at like the Dabbleverse fans. I mean, although I don't like talking about the Dabbleverse, if you do a Dabbleverse comedy show, which I am doing at Hackamania, they don't want to hear well-crafted jokes. They want you to talk shit about Stuttering John or whoever, and if you probably hit them with like well-crafted jokes about, I don't know, whatever you joke about, uh, it's gonna be a tough sell because that crowd doesn't. It's like when they used to at the local roast battle show in LA. They used to have comedy before the roast battle. You'd have like 5 or 6 comics and basically warming up the crowd. But that crowd, if you went on first or second, it was pretty good because there's a sold out room every week. But the closer it got to the battles, I mean, I saw A-level headliners eating shit burgers to dead silence because at that point, they wanted roast. They wanted to hear racist and homophobic jokes. They didn't want to hear about your relationship with your dad. So, yes, Wayne Fraser, Canada in the house. Um, I mean, I mean, Trump's unbelievable. His stamina, like, and that's the reason why you never really hear about Trump being old because he does these fucking 3-hour rallies, man. And I'm not uh, age shaming Biden, but man, he struggles. Like 5, 10 minutes in, he looks absolutely fucking lost. We have our first super chat of the night. Assyrian, $5. You should pitch a show like Bar Rescue, but call it Hack Rescue or the Hack Whisperer. Find open micers who suck and work with them to improve their set. There's a show for that. It's called Kill Tony, Assyrian. They find a lot of bad comics. So I'm late to the party. I'm late to the party. Um, Well, I mean, and I'm not making fun of Biden. I mean, fuck, he's 81. And but, I don't think people really realize how hard being the president is, just the travel alone. Like, did Biden go to some summit recently in, like, Dubai? Like, can you imagine? And now that's a nonstop flight, Air Force One, but, can you imagine that you're 81 years old and you gotta take a 20-hour flight, get off that fucking plane, look like you're 20 years old and speak and take questions and deal with whatever other, curveballs are thrown your way, and then you gotta get back on the plane, take a 20-hour flight to Washington, and then have, I don't know, uh, Jim Acosta busting your balls about something as soon as you step off the plane. Like, it's pretty brutal. Thank you, Assyrian24. I'm not doing these streams for money, but it is, nice to get paid for your time or whatever. Um, I mean, Biden just, his tax, and I'm certainly not rich, but I mean, I'm in that weird purgatory bracket of I'm not poor, I'm not rich. He's just, you know, I mean, I have some very wacky views on helping the poor. Like it's hard for me to want to help the poor from the standpoint of, if you have four kids and you have a minimum wage job, why should I be penalized for you coming in a woman you shouldn't have came into? And that now that's like very simplistic, but it's how I feel. Uh, that I mean, West Hollywood, this gives you a perfect example of the how I pay my taxes. My driving record is basically perfect. I've gotten one speeding ticket in 1988. Never had an accident, and my car insurance is through the roof because at the part of the I live in West Hollywood. So, and I said to get the guy from Farmers, I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? I have a perfect driving record. I'm like, I don't do anything wrong. Like, uh, and he's like, dude, the part of the city you live in, like, you're never gonna get it lower than what you're paying right now. So, but that's because we have to pay for all these outreach programs and all that shit. Uh, so I mean, Kill Tony basically does that already. So I don't know if I want to be involved in a Kill Tony type show. Wayne Fraser, another friend of the show, gifted one Earl Skakel membership. So whoever got that Earl Skakel membership, Chris Mack, please say thank you at your leisure for my buddy Wayne. I speak the truth, Ross. And maybe I'm just honest. Like, obviously, I feel bad for poor people, but like, why should I be penalized? I've never had a child before, and I've probably fucked more than most people. There's a thing called pulling out. Great, you got to deal with dirty sheets. I'd rather do that than not being able to afford my kids' education or diapers or, whatever, clothes. So I live a nice life because I'm responsible. But in Los Angeles, it's almost like you're penalized for being responsible. That's why all these people move. That's why Joe Rogan moved. And now that's taxes on another level. I can't imagine what his taxes look like in California. They just passed a bill within the last year that any home over $5 million, you have to pay a 3% estate tax. Now, you might say, well, what's the big deal? If you're buying a $5 million home, you can afford the 3%, I guess, grift tax. And that's not the point. It's like, why work hard to be able to put yourself in a position to buy a $5 million home when you're getting penalized for it? So, but that's just how I think. Uh, so, well, Dr. Nova, I mean, that's why a lot of people move to Florida, though, is there's no state income tax. Texas, that's why you see a lot of pro hockey players, half the reason they have no trade clauses, and I guess it's similar for other sports, but I'm more familiar with hockey, um, is that, if you're a hockey player and you're making, say, 5 to $6 million, you wanna play in Vegas, Arizona, Florida, with one of the 2 Florida teams, or Texas, the Dallas Stars. Because if you're a hockey player making 5 to $6 million and you get traded to, say, the Montreal Canadiens, it's the most historic, maybe the most historic franchise in all of sports. 24, I think, Stanley Cup champions, like they are in LA. And, I don't know about the value of the Canadian dollar to the US dollar, but, that 5, $6 million American money becomes, after taxes and manager fees and agent fees, you're taking home 2 million. Now that's nice living, but like not when you're making 6 to 7. Well, I'm sure the Yankees have uh, high taxes. Yankee players. Look at Shohei Ohtani. I mean, that's the ultimate. Like, what do you have? A $700 million contract, but like living in Los Angeles, and after now he's still going to have 3 or 400 million to take home in the bank, and that's not even counting his endorsement deals. So I'm not saying you should feel sorry for Shohei Ohtani, but why should he have to pay a tax on a house just because he can afford it? Don't penalize the guy. So, but what are you going to do? Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how poor people live, man. And this generation, poor people are like the middle class. I mean, I've given the example of when I went to the football game, and I'll say it again because I think we have a few newbies in the stream. I went to the what was it, the Rams Steeler game, and the parking at SoFi was $100. Um, the, my lunch, I guess you'd say, I got a burrito and a Coke, and I don't know, some kind of frozen dessert is 50, $60. So I'm out almost $200 before I even hit my fucking seat. And the ticket was $367, and Ticketmaster and all that shit. So at the end of the night, I spent around $600, give or take, to see a fucking football game. So if you got a family of 4, you know, uh, well, I mean, I think though that he's going to be taxed pretty heavily on whenever. I know he's backloading the deal. Like I think he's only getting $20 million for the first part of it, but like when he gets that 600 million, you're going to be taxed on it. And if he buys a house in, I don't know, wherever he would buy his house, Beverly Hills, for say 10 million, he's got to pay a 3% tax on top of the 10 million. And it's not. Most people would say, "Well, he can afford it." Well, to me, it doesn't matter. That's why rich people leave the state, because they're like, "Fuck that! I'll buy a $20 million home in Austin and not have to pay any taxes on, like, an extra tax." I mean, that's literally people's thinking. I'll move to Vegas. Why do you think so many comics, when you look at the pandemic, and even successful comics were kind of struggling. It's all right, easy, 1, 2, 3. But even successful comics, because there were no gigs, and so they were used to a lifestyle of headlining the Ontario Improv, making 20 to whatever 40 grand a weekend. Now those gigs were gone, but you still got to pay your bills. So they all moved to either Vegas, Austin, Florida, and I think some moved to Tennessee. I don't know what the tax. I don't know if there's a state income tax in Nashville or Tennessee, but now that all the pandemic's pretty much over, people are still moving. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into the Earl Skakel tax shelter hour, but you know, it's either this or talk about Stuttering John. So what do you guys want? Um, well, no, I know they have music and comedy, but by the way, it's a great music scene in Nashville. I mean, Nashville is like the only city I've ever been in where you could walk by an alley and there's like a world-class blues band playing in the alley. Um, I think the
I
funniest thing.
don't get that. Could you try again? By the way, if you have another request, you don't need to.
I don't know what's going on here. My Siri just turned on. I'm being trapped. I'm being tracked. Um, oh yeah, I don't know. They do censor in this chat, but it's not me. I think it's YouTube. There's certain words you can't say, like the F word, like you know that rhymes with mag. You can't say that, so that's not me. Beloved chatter in the house. But the funniest thing that happened to me is I was there on a comedy podcast job, and the so I did really well at Zany's one night, and this guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, do you want to see Def Leppard and Journey tomorrow night?" I'm like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Journey's manager." I'm like, "Yeah, I think I would." And so he gave me a backstage pass and all that, and uh, and it was a great show. Both bands, killer shows. Um, and Taylor Swift was playing the football stadium next door, so both shows let out at the same time, and it was just the weirdest thing to see, like, a bunch of old dudes getting out of Journey and then a bunch of 13-year-old girls getting out of Taylor Swift. There's some real creepy, visuals there. Uh, IRS the wrestler? I hope the IRS is listening. I pay my taxes, so, um, you know I'm good there. I don't I'm actually super duper honest with my taxes. I'm actually almost too honest. Like, there's things I could write off, uh, like, uh, even doing these streams, that sign is, a tax write-off, because this stream, now that I'm monetized and I'm making income off of this stream, I could write off the $496 for that neon sign now, from Radical Neon on Melrose. That's Radical with a K. Why am I still in California? Because I love living here. That's, as a stand-up comic, you have to. I mean, you can move to Austin, you can move to New York, but eventually, those guys, the gigs you all want. 98% of the auditions are out here. So I'm not big enough AC/DC to have a residency in Vegas. Um, I'm not against it. If I could find a way to not live there, but maybe like have them Airbnb me there, so that I do. Easy 1, 2, 3. That I do. But hopefully, I won't have it for long. You know, that could help pay for the Earl Skakel special coming soon. Coming soon. No, I would have my residency at the Desert Inn under the name Dan Tana and Friends. See if you guys get that reference. Oh, Carrot Top's killing it, man. Oh shit, we have a celebrity in the stream. The great, this guy's a real one. The great Patrick Milligan in the stream. Booker extraordinaire of the Stand Comedy Club in New York, wrestling fan, and has treated me right from day one, going back into the cringe humor days. And I always tell this story. Patrick busted Ray at the stand for stealing drinks. Well, I'll let Patrick talk about that. I have no knowledge of that. Patrick, I did Skankfest once. That was enough for me in Brooklyn. Uh, I love those guys, but you are a celebrity to me because you've been good to me from day one. And I always tell this story. I'd only talked to Milligan a few times online. We murdered Ray last night. You'd make a lot of people happy if you did. I don't have any beef with Ray, but Kay in the house, Skank. No, Skankfest is a good time, but I'm at the point in my life where I just want to do stand up. I don't want to do naked roast battle. I don't want to, really go on a podcast just to talk shit about people. But my very first battle in Montreal, I was battling, I believe, the great Australian comic Tom Ballard. It was my first time on TV, and I was really fucking nervous. Uh, but and I won, and I'm standing on stage, and they're, hey, give it up for Earl, blah blah blah. And I felt this Darth Vader like energy staring at me. Now, if you ever watched Roast Battle, and it was on Comedy Central, so you probably didn't, I wouldn't blame you even if you could have. There was a balcony right behind the stage where people could still watch, and I looked up, and it was the Godfather, Milligan, looking at me, looking like the Undertaker, and he just gave me a nod. One of my proudest moments in stand-up comedy. Yeah, I mean, I might have to check out the Vegas Skank Fest. It's a lot of comics there I don't like, and I pretty much like everyone. It's Lois having a little drive-in dust, but like I didn't want to hang out in LA with these comics. That's why I don't go to Austin that much. Um, Lois has fluid in her lungs and a heart murmur, so every now and then she's got to, you know, cough out whatever she's coughing. Um, well, I don't know. I had fun at the Brooklyn one. I mean, the naked roast battle that I judged with Ari Shafir, and I would say Bronson Jones, but I think Bronson Jones mistimed his drug intake and he passed out. And Zach Amico blading himself, setting a mouse trap off on his dick. And then Ari Shafir pissing in a Budweiser cup and throwing it in Zach's face. I'm like, this might be my first and last Skankfest. I can't keep up with these young bucks. Uh, Lois is the best, but she is getting a little old. Um, no, I love Zach. Listen, uh, it's hard to explain that show to people. I mean, the contestants were naked, the judges were naked, and I didn't realize we were kind of elevated above the crowd. So the whole time I'm kind of like pulling on my dick to make it look big, and then the whole front row is laughing at me because I think they thought I was just jacking off. So Ray is pissing in the hallway. Well, I don't know. I was not. I'm assuming comics try and scam free drinks all the time from the stand. I certainly see it at the Comedy Store a lot. Um, so I don't know what happened that night. Ray got busted. Now, Milligan, do you go to the Vegas one? I would go if you were there. Um, I'll be at Hackamania. Patrick Melton's. I guess it's. I don't think he's trying to compete with Skankfest, but I'll be there. Wayne Fraser gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Wayne Fraser. See what happens when 2 hockey fans get to know each other. Um, Lois has a lot. Thank you, Wayne, very much. And if you got a free membership, thank Wayne, please. No, I don't do the snipe shit, Jive Turkey. This ain't. Oh shit, you're right. Secret Snake. Wayne Fraser, 5 gifted memberships. We're even gonna do this, so it's maximum. What is this? A Kiss concert? Uh, there we go. I like to. There we go. Seriously, I do appreciate the generosity in here. I'm not streaming for money, and I don't beg for money like others. Give me money. Give me money. I better have 5 more super chats, or I'm not going to do another 20 minutes. What do you think of Zach's roast skills? Um, he's fun. Like, I think, like he's good at. I mean, like I think the because of his appearance, the goth makeup, being half naked, the hair spiked. He gives his opponent a lot to work with. Um, Now, you might say I do the same thing when I come out there in leather pants and an oiled up body and all that bullshit that I do, but I don't really give my opponent a lot to work with because they could say I'm old, but physically I look better than outside of Matthew Broussard, any roaster ever. So, go ahead, make fun of me not having a shirt on. But he's great. Like I think it depends who he's roasting against. Like that's why I loved him and Matt Broussard. It's like two completely opposite looking people, which I always loved. So that's the solo from Rebel Yell. If you didn't know that. No, Dr. Nova. I've been. There's not a lot of underage people now. No Jeff Ross references. You know my rule. Any Jeff Ross references is $100. No, $1,000 and up. I try and keep this a happy stream. I cannot talk about Jeff Lifshitz, Jeff Ross. I'm on a gag order. I can't say that name. I get in trouble if I talk about him. I love how I'm the one who gets in trouble. This business is crazy, man. Big Earl is, yes, I'm the 50-year-old Matt Rife, 55-year-old. See, I'm honest about my age. I don't mind Matt Rife. I mean, is he the funniest guy in the world? You know, he's got a fan base that thinks he is. That's all that matters. I mean, Tim Dillon once told me backstage, because we were talking about social media and his Patreon and all that. And I was just like, dude, you've really cornered that market. He's like, bro, Earl, all you need is 2,000 fans and you can make a good living in this business. So I've got 30 in the chat. So, hey, I just need another 1,900. And I went to USC, 970 fans, and I'll be on Easy Street. So, but if you are in New York City, go to the Stand Comedy Club. Don't go to the Cellar. We can go to the Cellar, but go to the Stand first. You might not want to go to the Cellar after. I'm loyal to my friends. Well, no, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say, I've only seen Matt Rife do one joke. One night I was at I think I've told this story before, but I was waiting to go on in the original room. They had just given my friend Jessica Michelle Singleton the light, but knowing her, she was going to do about another 3 to 5 minutes. So I said, Matt was in the main room, sold out 2 shows in the main room on a Wednesday night. That is fucking impressive. Like the main room's a big room. It's like 400 seats. And let me just see one joke. Let me see what the buzz is about. And unfortunately for Matt, he had forgotten, I think, his place in the joke. So he just looks at the crowd and it was like, I think I'm just going to take my shirt off. And the crowd went fucking bonkers. So, when you have that type of connection, you don't have to be that funny. So, there's that. Yes, if you do go to the Stand, Milligan could probably tell you who you're going to see, but you might see Mark Norman, you might see Ray Goots, You might see Ray DeVito. You might see Kevin Brennan if he gets the bug. You might see Hannah Berner. Tracy Carnazzo. It's the best club. It's just an awesome, and they treat the comics great. So Mike Hunt, I see what you did there. They called Earl the lug jammer back in the day. Well, no, that was Tom Torsey who clogged up the toilet at Notre Dame High School so bad I had to go to the guard shack and get a shovel. Earl, have I ever been to the Viper Room? Many a time. I don't think I'm doxing myself, but I live on the street. I live 1 block below the Viper Room. So I've been there. Who have I seen? I've seen Slash play the Viper Room. I've seen Slash's daughter play the Viper Room. She was quite good for a woman that young. I think she was only like 16, but like you could tell she's seen some shit. Um, I've seen, been to so many shows there. Enough's Enough. Probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen was Enough's Enough is playing, and they're doing their big hit Fly High Michelle. And Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell was like kind of going from table to table. I think he was looking for the powdered lemonade, if you know what I'm saying. And Chips Enough just stops the song dead and goes, "Hey, can someone get Mr. Belding some booger sugar? He's looking a little peaked." And then they go right back into the song. Um, no, I was not at the Viper Room that night. Um, I've never seen anything really too wacky there. I've also performed at the Viper Room Comedy. I've brought up the um, what did I do? The Vicky Hamilton, who managed Guns N' Roses and Poison. She had a uh, great band. They're still going. Lovely World, um, that I got to introduce on stage, and I think the guitar player tried to give me some green powder right before the curtain opened. I'm like, I'm good. And then I brought up, I think, Hurricane, the band. I wouldn't say I was performing. I'm just, hey, give it up for Hurricane. And then I got off the stage. No, I was not there. What up, Cold C? Um, but I've seen, I think George Lopez bringing up Ace Frehley. I've seen a lot of interesting shows there. But the word on the street in West Hollywood is that they are going to tear down the Viper Room and build some monstrosity of a building there. So, but now they said they're going to rebuild the Viper Room. Like part of the deal is they have to have a Viper Room like at the top. I think it's a hotel or condos or something. So yeah, Hurricane had a nice run. Na 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 na. Um, Frank Grillo mentioned me on Corolla. That would be weird because I don't think. I've met Frank Grillo, but I would be shocked if he even knew my name. Because Frank Grillo was on a show called Blind Justice, and I saw him. He kind of gave me the Todd Rundgren answer when I met Todd Rundgren and said, "Hey, I loved you in the new cars." He's like, "You were about the only one." I walked up to Frank Grillo and said, "Hey, man, I loved you in Blind Justice," and he looked at me like, "Hey, if you could find that and clip it for me, Cold C, I would appreciate it. But if not, all good." Um, Good night, Wayne. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Totally unnecessary, but as long as the oh yeah. So he didn't mention me by name. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I love Frank Grillo. But thank you, Wayne, very much. Whiskey Go Go. I've been to the whiskey many a time. I've seen Motorhead. I've seen Rat. Uh, I've seen. I think Enough's Enough. Shark Island. Well, my cousin's dead to me. I'm not even on his fucking comedy show Wednesday night. So everyone, if you can't super chat, which is fine, it's not why I do this. Tweet at Robert Kennedy Jr. Why the hell is an Earl on your comedy show? Frank is. Oh man. I have not gotten tickets yet for Sting's retirement, although I'm thinking about it because Will Ospreay is also on the card, and he's currently my favorite. But I need a nonstop flight to Greensboro. Um, I try to eliminate any excess travel, but I probably will. I mean, Sting's my guy, as you can see. Got his gloves right there. Ultimate Warrior, his first tag team partner's doll right there. People are like, what do you have the Sting mask on? That's a Steve Stevens figurine. Steve Stevens, the guitar player from Billy Idol, he sent me a figurine along with this ray gun. You see, here's the autograph. You can see to Earl, Steve Stevens, one of the great underrated guitar players of all time. That solo from Rebel Yell, come on. Or a White Wedding. It's a nice day for a white wedding. Yeah, a Ray DeVito gun. That wouldn't work. Hello, let's roast. Um, I do have a second ray gun that Lois thought was a chew toy. So Earl should do a cop buddy movie with the Roast Master General. I will not do anything with that guy. I can't say his name. I'm on a gag order. So that's the world of stand-up comedy. I get in trouble. I'm like, Milligan will vouch for me. I think I don't want to speak for Milligan, but I am not a rapist or a pedophile, which explains why I go on at 3 a.m. at most venues. I'm not panhandling tonight. Give me money. I might move to where Melton is in Vegas, and we'll just stream snipe. I'm going to start a new show, Stream Snipe. I'm just sniping everyone. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know how to do that. And I'm not this angry. It's just, wait, here's a little picture of Lois. People always ask me what Lois looks like. Hold on. There's Lois. Look at Lois. She's just chilling. Hold on. Look at that smile. It's true, Kongzilla. I'm legally not allowed to say his name. You think my spots are late now? I love stand-up comedy. It's the best business in the world. I get to work with rapists, pedophiles, sexual deviants, creeps, racists, homophobes, and those are the funny comics. Patrick, I can't say his name. I'm on a gag order. So, I like my 2 spots a week at the Comedy Store. I can't say anything. I'm like the most well-liked guy in LA comedy. How do I have so many enemies? Because I speak the truth. I speak for the unspoken. I'm a voice of the voiceless. That's a Ric Flair Starrcade 87 when he put Sting over. Or was that Starrcade 88? I'll just say JL. We can say JL, right? Then I could be talking about JFL or whatever. We can't talk about him in this stream. This is a drama-free stream. Jerry Lewis. Hello. Well, I can talk about Jerry Lewis. I had a family member who used to do cocaine regularly with his son, Joe Lewis. I don't mean the boxer. Jerry Lewis had a son named Joe. Birthday boy stab man. I've never had a drink in my life. No drugs, no drink, no cigarettes. I'm not preaching. I'm just answering your question. I'm straight edge. I like pro wrestling, big tits, and bad comedy. Watching bad comedy, not doing it. I'm like the Kiss of comics. I'm not the best. I could tell you guys a joke right now. You might laugh, you might not. But you see me live, you're like, this is the greatest comic of all time. I'm like, Kiss. You put on a Kiss record, you think these guys are brutal. But you see them play Christine 16, Lady, my chat gets disconnected. My lines are tapped, man. No more Jeff references. So stream. We're just hanging out. Bunch of friends. Because Cenobite and Hellraiser, I can't laugh. I can't laugh at that. Now, a lot of people have been telling me that Shuli is stealing my hello, but I got to be honest with you. I was stealing it from Jerry Lewis, so I can't get too mad at that. Was the new Hellraiser any good? Almost. I haven't seen a Hellraiser since the mid '80s. That's the one Ron Perlman was in, right? What was Ron Perlman in? Hellboy. Hello, Luna Shtick. We're about to end, but happy Monday. This was an impromptu stream, but we'll go for a. No, but Ron Perlman was in some franchise. But I like I said, Pinhead. Who was Pinhead? And no, I don't mean a comic I did the road with. We need another hour, thanks. Well, I don't know if I can do it. See, I can't do these 3 to 4 hour streams or 2 to 4 hour streams because then it just becomes okay. I'm just going to do this until people give me enough money, and then I'm going to quit. I want you guys to want more. Oh, thank you, Ross. I want to end. I want to go. Oh, God, I wish he was still on. And then so the next time I'm on, Ron Perlman is a jagoff. I mean, I liked him in Sons of Anarchy, to be honest with you. Um, but I don't tell people who to like. Like if you like Matt Rife, great. If you like Ron Perlman, great. If you don't like me, I wish you did, but I'm not going to beg you to think I'm funny. I'm a voiceover superstar. Come on, I don't need comedy. Um, I mean, at 55, I'm assuming New Faces isn't calling me. But if someone can make an accusation in the stream, like that I'm a pedophile or something, who knows? I might get every festival I go for. No, I don't have the energy to go on Pat Dixon tonight. Pat does those 3-4 hour streams, man. I can't do that. Respect to him because I love him. But, we've done what, an hour and 2 minutes right now. I'm feeling good. I could go for a little bit more, but well, probably Mike Hunt. See, I see what you did there. I saw Porky's, my man. I saw Pee Wee from Porky's once at the DMV, and I left my place in line to go say hello to him. And then he knew knew him from Porky's, and he had his wife and kids with him, and he's just like, dude, I got my wife and kids with me. I'm like, okay, respect. The first Porky's I loved. The third one, when they're all in real life in their 30s and they're playing high school students, is a little rough for me. But and Tony Gagnos, who played Meat in Porky's, um, he see Milligan's funnier than most of the comics he books because Milligan keeps it real. That's why we get along. We're soldiers of comedy. We don't deal with the bullshit. Okay. Thank you for Hungry Giron. Yeah, Tony Gagnos said he would do my stream or podcast. We just haven't figured it out yet. My favorite line, and he was also in Die Hard 2. He was the telephone repairman terrorist that Bruce Willis stabbed in the eye with an ice pick. I don't sell tickets though. Well, few do. But I will say, when I go on last in the main room every Saturday night, I don't want very many people. I bring a few people into the building. I mean, I'm no Matt Rife, but like, who is? Favorite Tex Cobb movie, without a doubt, Uncommon Valor. And then I would say Raising Arizona. And then it's not a movie, but his episodic appearance in season 3 Miami Vice episode Down for the Count. Thank you very much. Was there a glory hole in Porky's? Well, there was the shower where Tommy Turner put his dick through the hole, and the gym coach, Miss Bowlbricker, grabbed it. Jive Turkey. Jive Turkey, are you a comic? You want to send Milligan your avails? I like to link people together. But Milligan knows, this shows you how phony people are in LA comedy. They'll go to New York and they'll tell Milligan, "Hey, Earl recommended me." Well, you don't have double D tits, so I know Earl didn't recommend you. Tex Cobb, great in Blind Fury. Golden Child, he was good in. It's weird how he kind of just stopped acting. I've tried to get him on the podcast to talk about his fight with Larry Holmes, and I can't find him. And my friend, one of my good friends, won't say his name, but he's a federal judge. He will be on the Supreme Court one day. Yeah, man, Milligan, we might have to talk about that. He couldn't find him. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm not asking you to do anything illegal because I don't want to. Obviously, I don't want to affect your job, but can you help me find Tex Cobb? Like, I can't find him anywhere. Now he did track him down to the Philly area because I believe Tex Cobb did graduate actually with honors from Temple University. I know he's from Abilene, Texas, but he's off the grid, man. Like he is just, and I think he would be such a good. Now Milligan might agree with me on this. There's a lot of great roasters. I don't know if I would say there's a lot of great roast battlers, but the greatest roast I've ever seen outside of Foster Brooks roasting Don Rickles is Tex Cobb roasting Larry Holmes, and it's about 7-8 minutes, and it's basically an all black room because it's Larry Holmes fan base, and Tex Cobb drops an N bomb hard ER, and the crowd lit up. Oh, I didn't know he had a brother. Corn on. Oh, see, I see what you did. See, Milligan's funny. Corn on the, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you had a brother. Oh, it's like Mike Hunt. You guys are killing. Who's Tex Cobb? John Doe. Please don't say that. The greatest jaw in heavyweight boxing history. He had a stronger jaw than Stormy Daniels. Hello. How could you book Jeremy Piven Milligan? We all make mistakes. I did roast battle thinking it would help me. I've been there. John Doe, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Doing a stream for $5. Come on. Why change when life is this good? Pew! Oh, yeah. If you look up Tex Cobb, Larry Holmes roast, it's still on YouTube. It's so funny. Like, just the fact that he had the balls to and it was a great joke because I don't want to ruin it for you, but he basically flipped it. You know how they say all, uh, Chinese people look alike. He was basically saying Larry Holmes thinks all white people look alike. And, he dropped the word that, I don't feel comfortable saying. So no, I get it. Listen, he gets booked out here tons. Like, Laugh Factory loves him. Improv books him. I mean, the store. That's why I love the Comedy Store. He won't get booked there. So no, he's not a relative of Ty Cobb. I don't believe so. Gino Bisconte is actually a pretty funny roaster. I mean, yeah, Gino, I think is from the Tex Cobb's school of roasting. He likes to drop some words that most people don't feel comfortable with. But hey, whatever works. Are you going to be one of the judges in a Ray DeVito versus Stuttering John roast? I mean, I would. I don't like doing all the. I don't go on anyone's Dabbleverse shows anymore just because I get roped into the stream sniping and then they make fun of me and it's like, fuck you guys. It's like, I'm doing this shit for free. I've done MLC, I think, at least 20 times, never been paid once, and I've never asked for money. But I'm not going to be roasted for free. You want to roast me? That's fine. You'll roast me when I'm in the room with you. And then your balls shrivel up to the size of chickpeas. That's Stanley Tucci and that David Caruso movie that bombed, but I liked it. A Kiss of Death. Kiss of Death. See, when I steal, I give people credit. Um, I don't know when that roast is, but I think I'm the house judge on all MLC roast battles and a Zoom roast battle. Sack up and do it in person, man. Uh, I still get roast battle offers from open mic level comics. Earl, there's no ego. And F the world, I have nothing to lose. Let's burn it all. I like your style, John Doe. I don't have an ego. I know my place in the world of comedy, and it's right above Dat Fan. Pew! Um, I just speak my mind, and hopefully people dig it. And I don't do the road a lot, but when I am in New York City, I will be at the stand. I don't need to loiter around the cellar and hope Esty says, "Hey, you can go on at 2:30 in the morning after I don't know, Shabadoo Quinones." No, thank you. I'm a soldier. I'm a voiceover superstar. I'm Barry Jelly, bitch. All right, I think that's enough. Shabadoo Quinones, yes, R.I.P. He died of AIDS. What a shock an 80s breakdancer would die of AIDS. I have visual AIDS. I got hit in the head with a film projector. Hello! Um, Ty Cobb roasted the Harlem Globetrotters in that movie. Yeah, I mean, Ty Cobb, that's why I say, how is Dave Parker not in the Hall of Fame? Just because he did a little cocaine and maybe, helped facilitate some sales in the Pirates locker room when Ty Cobb's like an open racist. Like, if you start having people in the Hall of Fame just because they were good people, you're going to have to stop having Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. And how's Kamala? Hold on here. Man, did someone steal my Kamala doll? There's a thief in the house. Well, here's the greatest wrestling doll of all time. Oh, here it is. Let's start an online campaign to get Kamala, the Ugandan giant. Let me turn the light off for the effect. In the WWE Hall of Fame. No, that is not the best wrestling doll I have. And it's not this one either. My brother, Akeem, the African Dream, my brother. That is not the best wrestling doll I have. It is this one. This is a one of one. There's not another doll like this in the world. The Earl Skakel wrestling doll, given to me by the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, on his roast. The Earl Skakel wrestling doll. And see the bulge in the middle? So it is life size. My dick is 1/4 of an inch. Well, I mean, Keith Lee. Keith Lee is a great wrestler, I will say that, for his size. But, how is Kamala not in? The guy had great feuds with Kerry Von Erich when he had 2 feet. He had, by the way, I don't know about the casting in that Iron Claw movie. I mean, come on. Kerry Von Erich was like 6'4", 260, and the guy from The Bear plays him? And I don't mean Ant's last boyfriend. Hello! And Zac Efron, who's a great actor, but, he didn't look like, he looked more like Kerry Von Erich than Kevin Von Erich. And he wasn't, if you go on my Instagram story, I think from today there is I think it's like a hamburger commercial from Texas with the Von Erich brothers. Those guys were fucking monsters. So I don't know how you pick 3 of the smallest actors in Hollywood to play them. But what do I know? I just work here. I'm like Bill Paxton in Aliens. Were you a big honky tonk man? I mean, I like his shoot interviews now. He's like pretty bitter and stuff. Like they asked him about Rick Rude, who was like one of his best friends, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know, man. It's like I heard he injected Viagra into his dick, and his balls blew up because he thought he could fuck a lot of broads, and then he killed himself. What are you gonna do?" It's a great way to talk about one of your best friends. Uh, well, I mean, Dr. Nova, and I know Milligan's a wrestling guy. You might want to chime in here. Like, I'm not expecting a fucking documentary on the Von Erichs, and although the actors were very good, they just didn't look like them. I mean, I don't know how tall Zac Efron is, maybe 5'11", 6 feet. And you're playing a guy who was 6'3", 250. And, like I said, the guy from The Bear, I think it's Jeremy Allen White, he's playing a Kerry Von Erich, who's like, 6'4", 240, 250, maybe 260, basically like a bigger Ultimate Warrior. And the Ric Flair actor was horrible. Like, he might be a good actor. Like, I don't know what else he's done, but holy fuck, man, that was brutal. In terms of, you know, um, the visual acting. But, if you don't know I gave the movie 2 reviews. I said, if you just walk in because you're a Zac Efron fan and you want to watch the movie, it's an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, the acting's good. The guy who plays Fritz Von Erich, he's in a lot of my favorite things. Hoyt McElhenney, I think is his name. Um, but if you know the story like I do, like, they glossed over some things and they kind of purposely changed the story to make the Von Erichs look better. I mean, we all know that the Von Erich curse was not because he switched his name from whatever it was to Von Erich. It was because maybe he came to the ring in the 60s as a Nazi. I'm pretty sure that had something to do with it. And, the partying was kind of curtailed. Like, how famous the Von Erichs were in the 80s. Like, they were the Rolling Stones of world-class championship wrestling. And they fucking diddled underage girls and did fucking mountains of coke, and none of that was presented. Now, yes, Smith was a garbage man, Mr. Milligan. And what was it? Chris's suicide. They didn't even talk about it. It's like it's a movie, like it's a biography. How could you leave out? Because to me, I think Chris Von Erich's suicide's the most interesting one. It's the saddest one for sure, but he killed himself basically because he wasn't like his brothers. Like, he didn't physically look like them, and he couldn't wrestle, and they kind of forced him. And, like, he didn't want to do it. And I just, to not even mention it. And the director was like, well, we didn't want too much sadness in the movie. Well, it's a fucking sad story when 4 out of the 5 brothers kill themselves. It's not going to be season 2 of Undateable. Hello. Yeah, I mean, they definitely sterilized the history, but, and the timeline was a little off on some of the suicides in terms of events that happened. And I thought, they only made it seem like the Von Erichs wrestled the Freebirds and Bruiser Brody. And, I thought the Bruiser Brody guy, I guess, visually looked like him, but I don't think he really acted like him. I mean, like, Bruiser Brody was a no-nonsense, no bullshit guy. Like, my favorite Bruiser Brody match is when he scared the shit out of Lex Luger, and Lex Luger literally ran out of the ring. He's like, fuck this. And I thought Kamala could have been in it. Like, Kamala had an amazing feud with Kerry Von Erich. And it totally set up Kerry Von Erich as a babyface. Now, I'm not saying the movie wasn't great because Kamala wasn't in it, but it was something that you could have put in the movie other than fucking one of them getting laid in a truck. Yeah, I mean, I thought, like I said, if you are, I'm assuming most of the people who saw the movie were Zac Efron or the guy from the Bears fans. So, I'm sure some 17-year-old girl uh, isn't going to, she's not, oh, there wasn't Kamala in this movie. It sucked. They're just like looking at Zac Efron's ripped body. So he'll probably get in the Netflix festival before. Kerry Von Erich, the real guy, his corpse will get into the Netflix festival. Outrageous, this business. All right, you guys. This has been the Earlverse stream. I love you all. Rick Rude, I bought the AEW game, Milligan, and the AEW game sucks. Like, I wish someone could hook me up with a writing gig for AEW, because I would have told Tony Khan, you cannot release this video game. It literally looks like Michael J. Fox having a seizure did the graphics. But I will say this. The exploding ring match is fun, but it's a little over the top, to be honest with you. Like the wrestlers look like burn victims after they get electrocuted. So I love you all. I mean, but how do they release that? Like, I would have told Tony Khan, like, hey man, you can't release this. It's, WWE. Someone did in the WWE game. Someone made me a character in the game, a fan, and it looks like me. Like, he's got the visor on I usually wear. He's got the rat shirt, the shitty board shorts I wear, and he put me in a tag match. I was Sting's tag team partner against the Ultimate Warrior and Kamala, and it looks like a real match. Like, you feel like you're watching me on TV. The AEW game was like brutal. So before I go, let me just thank the fan funders, if you will. Assyrian 24, Wayne Fraser, as always. Thank you guys very much. Now, no one if you're a comic in the stream right now, do not Instagram Milligan saying I recommended you. He's too hip to that game, unless you have double D's. Hello. A, B, C, D, F, G. I like double D's. I mean, Kenny Omega didn't really look like Kenny Omega either. Like, even just optically, like, when you can make an Earl Skakel character in the WWE game and it looks like me, then AEW should be able to make their biggest star, arguably, maybe MJF or whatever, look a little bit like the guy. So this has been Earl Skakel. Speaking of AEW, we'll be live in the Earlverse Wednesday after AEW, hoping Kenny Omega gets back. He's got diverticulitis. You can't wrestle that style and have it not catch up to you. That makes me sad, because I hope he's still got another run in him. Ospreay wrestles the same style. Milligan will tell you that. You can't do those fucking moves for 5 to 10 years, and your body gives out. I mean, my body gave out playing ball hockey. I was very good at it, by the way. If you want to YouTube something, don't YouTube my comedy specials or clips. YouTube Earl Skakel slap shot. All right, you guys. Milligan, thanks for checking in. Boulder Johnny, ACDC 5150. I love you all. The Earlverse is over.